They are one of the most well-known power couples in the history of American politics. One has been president, the other is seeking to follow his lead. And depending on whom you talk to, the Clintons are either the savviest politicians of our time or two of the greatest liars and frauds ever. A Grand Canyon-esque divide that only time and detail will reveal. Our guest is online editor at the Weekly Standard and author of Clinton, Inc., the audacious rebuilding of a political machine. Welcome Daniel Halper to MidPoint. Dan, thanks so much for being here.
Hey, it's great to be here. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure, Dan. So what is it then? What is it that most people see them as? Either the most savviest, they know their way around Washington, they can get away with anything, or they are just the crookedest. You've got to admit that it pretty much is a far left and far right divide, a Grand Canyon-esque on these people.
Yeah, I think so. More or less it is these days, but I don't see why it can't be both. I mean, I can't, they can be crooked people and be successful politicians in Washington, D.C. The two are not mutually exclusive in the way you're suggesting, I think. It probably lies somewhere in the middle. Look, there are plenty of scandals. There's plenty of reason to be distrustful of the Clintons, but yet they are very successful politicians. And really, are they that different than other politicians, especially in the wake of the Clintons? And what I'm saying is they've changed politics in such a way that what they've done is what they are doing is now acceptable. Look at the way President Obama talks about health care, for instance. You know, he promises that if you like your doctor, you can keep it, but the truth is you can't. So it's a little more complex than just those two polar opposites.
Well, Daniel, I'm glad you brought that up because that was my point. Many people want to go to one of the extremes, but in essence, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, they are just like so many other politicians in Washington. They know their way around. They know how to escape. They know how to make deals. They know how to get things done. They're really not, and people are going to chafe at this a little bit, but I think even you found out in the book, they're not that different from anybody else who works and lives inside the Beltway.
Right, but they are better at it. And
yes.
It is a remarkable proposition that Hillary Clinton's doing to just be around, relevant in American politics for 24 years, as Hillary Clinton has done. That's unprecedented. People haven't been able to do that.
But how have they been able to do it then, Daniel? That would be the question. How have they managed to be able to be better at it?
Well, this is the essence of my book. So I tell the story basically about how they've been able to remain relevant. And a lot of it is a personal understanding. They understand how politics works on a very personal level. They've built relationships with people on both sides of the aisle that they rely on heavily, and they spent a long time winning back Republicans when they left the White House and Democrats who soured on them in 2008 since the last election, and that's why Hillary Clinton is so well positioned to retake the White House. Now, she does have some problems, she has some shortcomings, but she is clearly the favorite, and I think Republicans, by and large, are making a big mistake by being so giddy and so happy that she's running because it will be a struggle to beat her for that.
It really does seem in many ways that a lot of her opponents still underestimate their ability to escape.
Totally. You know, you always hear every time there's a new scandal, the emails, well, this is it, she's done for, you know. It's not. They're survivors. They fight. You know, Nixon, when he got in trouble, he put his head down in shame. He left the American political scene. The Clintons realized if you don't put your head down and you don't leave, then you can stay around for a very long time. And it's sort of a unique proposition in that regard, though many people have followed it since, and it has sort of changed American politics, but they have rewritten the rules.
Daniel, I got about a minute left here, and looking at the very low key that Mrs. Clinton approach took this time in running for president, in your opinion, is she doing the right thing?
Well, you got to think about if she did the opposite. Let's say she filled a basketball arena and she had 30,000 adoring fans. Well, that might make good optics, but in 2 months from now, when the campaign is in further swing, would she be able to fill continually basketball arenas, or would the campaign look like it was flailing? I think they realized that the optics would look better if they could ramp up slowly and get to that point where they could sustain what enthusiasm there might be, rather than starting off large. So it is carefully crafted. Every step of the way with them is carefully crafted. This whole van, this whole small community college in Iowa, it's not dumb. There is reasons behind it, and it might well work.
They're really good poker players, aren't they?
They sure are. I wouldn't want to bet against them.
That's going to be the problem. I think many people already are, and they better be very careful because you don't live in Washington and survive this long without having some knowledge of how the system there works. Again, the book, Clinton, Inc., the Audacious Rebuilding of a Political Machine. It's a fascinating look into the Clintons. Daniel Halper is the author. Daniel, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, my pleasure. The climate change story nobody wants you to see, nobody wants you to talk about, nobody wants you to think about it. Because one man is at the forefront saying it may be springtime, but winter is on the way. It's coming up next, right here on MidPoint.